change of scenery here. It's like really cold outside for Virginia. It's like 15 degrees. So I decided to come into my room to do a blog entry instead. So you can see I'm on my bed right now, and I've got this lovely picture of a girl playing a piano behind me, and all the different stuff from my childhood that I never really could let go of, no matter how uncool it is. But what I wanted to do today is I wanted to actually have a video talking about my favorite books. You guys have been so gracious in reading the books that I've written and telling me all about your favorite books and the stories that you are writing yourselves. But I wanted to put aside a little bit of time just to talk about what I like to read and what inspires me. And hopefully you'll have some great new ideas to put on your bucket list. So I have 5 different books that I'm going to share with you today. The first of my 5 favorite books is this book called Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. I guess is her name. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Anne, I'm sorry. You can feel free to come here to Virginia and punch me for it, and I'll just be glad to be in your presence. But this is a book on writing, but it's not just any book on writing. A lot of books on writing seem like they're very dry, and I have all these lists of do's and don'ts and different rules that I feel like authors have to keep, and I just don't think that that's what writing is about at all. Writing is about sharing what's on your heart and sharing your own personal experiences and keeping true to your own voice, and these are all things that I believe, and things that have just been confirmed by Anne's amazing books. This is sort of like her memoir where she talks about her life as an author, and then she gives all kinds of just encouragement to writers who want to write about real life and real things that they're going through. And if you're interested in writing, or even if you're not interested in writing, it's a really great read, and I love it. Another one of my favorite books, this is one that I just recently read, this book called Notes from a Tilt-A-Whirl by N.D. Wilson, and this book blew me away. I actually had a friend, my best friend was reading it, and she texted me one day, and she just had like a quote from it, and I was, whoa, where did that come from? And she was telling me about this book that's amazing, and it's so well written, and it's just beautiful and rich, and the imagery in it is amazing, and it's all about looking at the world through eyes of wonder and being able to see the beauty in everyday things, and it completely changed my perspective on life. I swear I talked about it all the time to my family for like a month after I read it, and they all thought I was crazy obsessed. I'm still trying to get them to read it. But if you get Notes from the Tilt-A-Whirl, this book will change your life, and you will love it. It's very beautiful, very well written. It's just amazing, life changer. Another one of my favorite books is this book of poetry that I have by E.E. Cummings. So a lot of you might think that my favorite poet is Emily Dickinson, and that's true. I love Emily Dickinson. But E.E. Cummings is actually my favorite poet. And I love so many poems. It's just, I have The Heart Asks Pleasure First is my favorite poem by Emily Dickinson. But there's another one by E.E. Cummings called I Carry Your Heart With Me. I Carry It in My Heart. And that's my second favorite poem. But I love more of E.E. Cummings' poems. And sometimes I just read through this book, and it's crazy. Like, the grammar of it is insane. But it stretches my mind, and it causes me to think about things in a new way, and it's just very inspiring. So I love reading that. As far as fiction books go, this is one of my favorites. Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I cried when I read this book in high school. And I've read it like 3 or 4 times since then. And look at the pages. There's so much information in here. It's like 4 columned, and it's still like, 700 pages. And it took me like 3 days of just sitting there and not doing anything but reading to get through it. But it was amazing, and the character development was just unreal, and it was just so encouraging and inspiring to read, and I just loved it. Loved the characters, loved the story, loved everything about it. But my favorite book, my favorite fiction book, my favorite book just in general, is East of Eden by Steinbeck. If you have not read this book, go and read it. It's amazing. It takes place over 3 different generations. It's just this long, epic tale of this family and the children and how they learn and how they grow and the mistakes that they make and the things that they learn about how to love each other through, just sin and anger and, betrayal and, misjudgment and all these different things. And when you finish reading it, you just can't help but sit there and go, wow, now that was an amazing book. And it makes me want to write real stories that are really going to touch people the way this book touched me. And I love it. I've read it a couple different times, even though, once again, it's a huge task to read it. But I would encourage you, if you're a writer or if you're just a lover of books, to read Steinbeck. Read East of Eden, because it is amazing. So those are my top 5 favorite books as of right now. There's always more books on my to-read list, and who knows, by this time next year I might have a totally different list. But I would love to hear your favorite books. I always like hearing suggestions for new things to read. So what books do you love, and what's inspiring and encouraging to you? And I look forward to talking to y'all again soon.